Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Suplex Report. Get ready for all things WWE, news, match analysis, and more. Hit that bell so you never miss the action. Backstage at WWE Raw, the atmosphere was electric long before the cameras rolled, but no one expected Becky Lynch to step into the center of that storm with the intensity she carried. This wasn't the cool, calculated confidence fans have come to expect from her on-screen character. Instead, it was the kind of fiery outburst that could only exist in the world of WWE storytelling, raw, chaotic, and crackling with dramatic energy. The moment word spread that she had exchanged heated words with Cody Rhodes, whispers spiraled into full-blown buzz. It wasn't a meltdown, not a breakdown, not anything dangerous, just the kind of emotionally charged confrontation that fuels the most unforgettable wrestling arcs. And if anyone thought Becky would tread lightly, they clearly forgot who the man is in WWE lore. Clashing titans of the locker room. Becky's character-driven tirade toward Cody Rhodes wasn't about mental collapse or personal attacks. It was about storylines colliding in dramatic fashion, the type of high-stakes tension that pushes a rivalry from entertaining to legendary. In this fictional narrative, Becky accused Cody of playing up the hero role a little too perfectly, calling him out in typical wrestling fashion for leaning into the spotlight. Cody, caught off guard but never one to back down in a storyline, fired back with equally sharp words. The exchange, though intense, was pure WWE drama, two top talents pushing each other to craft the next must-see moment. Rivalries expanding and alliances cracking. The confrontation didn't stop with Cody. In this fictional scenario, Becky's fiery speech touched on the broader WWE landscape, hinting at favoritism, backstage politics, and shifting alliances, all the narrative fuel that wrestling fans eat up because it blurs the lines between scripted tension and exaggerated reality. She referenced the Usos in a way that sparked buzz, not because of real-life hostility, but because it teased the possibility of future storylines where families, factions, and loyalties collide. WWE thrives on unpredictability, and Becky's explosive energy opened doors to rivalries the creative team could explore for months. Whispers of betrayal and creative friction. Within this fictional retelling, Becky's backstage fire is framed as being triggered by a creative betrayal, perhaps a canceled storyline, a last-minute script change, or a missed opportunity that her character had invested in. In WWE's universe, sudden creative pivots are ripe material for heightened emotional reactions, especially when performers are passionate about their craft. The narrative portrayed her as someone who felt sidelined, overlooked, or misunderstood, which added a layer of humanity beneath the bravado. It wasn't madness, it was frustration channeled into character. The ripple effect through the locker room. As word of the confrontation spread, the locker room in this storyline reacted in exactly the way wrestling fiction demands. Some were shocked, some amused, and some quietly supportive, each with their own interest in how such a moment could shift future feuds. Old alliances seemed shakier, new tensions formed, and creative speculation filled the air. Everyone knew that when a performer like Becky Lynch brings this level of intensity to the table, WWE could spin it into gold if they handled it wisely. The fans caught in the crossfire. When snippets of the supposed confrontation leaked, whether real or exaggerated, fan reaction exploded overnight. Longtime supporters debated whether this was a full-blown work, a semi-shoot moment, or the start of a new chapter in Becky's character arc. Some felt stunned, others energized, but all were talking, posting, reacting. Social media buzzed with theories, fantasy booking, and excitement over the possibility that WWE might be setting up one of the most unpredictable angles of the year. The energy wasn't betrayal, it was fascination. A creative team, scrambling for opportunity. Behind the scenes, WWE's writers were showcased in this fictional tale as racing to figure out how to transform the situation into compelling television. Not because anyone was unstable or unsafe, but because wrestling storytelling thrives on real emotion repurposed for the ring. Becky's outburst, layered with frustration, passion, and raw competitive spirit, provided a blueprint for potential feuds that could reshape entire divisions. The creative challenge wasn't avoiding disaster, it was capturing lightning in a bottle. Secrets, strategy, and the game of power. The rewritten narrative highlights Becky's keen awareness of the shifting landscape around her. She's portrayed not as someone weaponizing personal secrets, but as a performer with her finger firmly on the pulse of WWE's power structure. She knew who was rising, who was faltering, and which alliances were quietly forming. In wrestling storytelling, information is power, and Becky's character positioned herself as someone ready to change the game by using her wit and insight rather than silence. A locker room at a crossroads. The fictional ripple effect of Becky's fury created an air of tension, with some performers reevaluating their creative paths, pitches, and upcoming arcs. Not because they were afraid of real-life instability, but because Becky's fiery outpouring signaled a shift. Storylines were evolving, hierarchies were changing, and the winds of creative direction were blowing hard. The WWE Universe thrives on these moments where uncertainty leads to innovation. WWE's balancing act. In this fictionalized retelling, WWE management isn't negligent or exploitative, but strategic, trying to balance the emotional energy of their performers with the demands of weekly programming. Becky's passionate expression behind the scenes became both a complication and an opportunity. Executives weighed the possibilities. Should they pivot toward a major storyline involving Becky and Cody? Should they explore faction warfare? Could this be the spark that revives an entire division? The stakes weren't about mental health, they were about creative direction. A performer at a turning point. At the heart of the rewritten story is Becky Lynch as a character on the edge of transformation. Her backstage eruption wasn't a sign of collapse, but a sign of reinvention, an artist hungry for deeper storytelling, bigger challenges, and a new chapter. Her emotional fire stemmed from her dedication to wrestling, her drive to push boundaries, and her refusal to settle for predictable arcs. In WWE's world, that passion is the spark that ignites unforgettable eras. The countdown to the next big moment. As the dust settled from Becky's backstage blow-up in this fictional scenario, one truth became clear. Whatever happens next will reshape the WWE narrative for months. The countdown isn't to destruction, but to reinvention, a seismic shift in character, arcs, rivalries, and alliances. Becky didn't break the company. She jolted it awake. She didn't threaten the structure. She reminded everyone why she's one of the most compelling performers of her generation. In WWE's world, drama is opportunity, conflict is storytelling fuel, and passion is the engine behind every unforgettable moment. And if this fictional tale hints at anything, it's this. The next chapter is going to be explosive in all the right ways.